Hey, John Lund here from my good friends at Modesto Toyota. Did you know for over 54 years, people have been driving from all over Northern California to Modesto Toyota? Why? Because of the great deals and a huge selection to choose from. Over 13 acres of new and used vehicles. And it's no secret, the Modesto Toyota has a large selection of certified used Toyotas as well. The best new cars make the best certified used cars. Certified pre-owned Toyotas have a 7-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and 1-year roadside assistance. Modesto Toyota always has a tremendous selection of trucks, cars, and SUVs, all at great low prices. So, whether you're looking for a new or certified pre-owned Toyota, my good friends at Modesto Toyota, Kevin and the whole crew, they have the one to fit your needs and your budget. It's absolutely worth the drive to Modesto Toyota. Go to modestotoyota.com. Check them out online, modestotoyota.com.
Kara Crowley's going to join us momentarily at KO_Crowley. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. Hear him on the weekends with Marty Lurie and Mother Bill Lasky.
Mother! Yeah.
And it's got a great piece on the manager of your San Francisco Giants. Check it out.
Wrong sport, Jan.
What?
San Francisco.
That's true.
Yeah.
He's Kerry Crowley, and he joins us. By the way, doing nights and sounding great, by the way. I was driving around my car listening to Kerry, and he's using his connections. He's had some Giants on. He's sounding really good, so make sure you tune in to Kerry. And he joins us courtesy of the Umaguest line. What's happening?
How's it going, guys? Doing well out here.
Good. Nice job at nights, by the way. I'm enjoying it. As I'm driving around from bar to bar at night, I'm really enjoying it.
that makes one person out there, John.
No, I'm enjoying it. I like it.
At least you're not killing my ratings.
No, it's good, man. It's excellent. Way to go. You're using those connections, by the way. You get some big name Giants on the show. Very impressive.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake right now. You got to make the most of this.
I've been listening to you for a long time. You're on a lot with Mark, and you guys had a nice farewell for Mark's last show, last Friday night of the year, and then you fill in a lot when Mark's not there. So you got the ability. You'll take the show over very shortly, but you're still a great writer. And today you were on A1. You had the front page of the entire Bay Area News Group chain, not just the sports section. And it was on Gabe Kapler, and I found it really interesting. And the quotes from Buster about the consistency. He's the same guy every day, which he is, even after they win the division. He's worrying about, getting ready for whatever might come on Friday. And Craw talked about him evolving, and he's changed. But I just, reading it, I just wonder, when he gets introduced, because in a playoff series, it's like opening day. It's the pomp and pageantry, right? When Rennell says, and your manager of the 2021 National League West champions, Gabe Kapler, and he runs out. Is it a thunderous ovation? Is it a polite, how do you think the citizens of San Francisco really feel about their manager right now?
Gosh, that's a really good question, and one that I haven't even begun to ponder yet. But now that you bring it up, I go back to opening day, Greg, and I think the applause was pretty meager for Gabe Kapler. If I remember correctly, there wasn't a whole lot of fanfare surrounding Gabe Kapler, and there was still a lot of skepticism. And now I tend to think that we may see a thundering ovation. I mean, for what this team has done, I think that, everyone will be cheered very, very well. But I do think that Kapler and this coaching staff, when they're introduced, the hitting coaches might get big introductions when Rennell introduces them if they go through one by one like they would on opening day. And I don't know if that's the case in the postseason. But, yeah, I do tend to think that this is going to be louder than most managers when they're introduced around the playoffs.
If I was Gabe Kapler, I'd go there sleeveless. I've seen him. The press conference, he was sleeveless.
Go Scherzer.
Like, dude.
Go Scherzer.
Yeah, go
The Aviators, of course, have got to be part of it.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's a debate, and it wasn't – you didn't get caught in the crossfire. Man, Keith Olbermann, dude, lighten up a little bit. As you tweeted out last night, it said Giants dodged the playoffs for the first time ever. So I understand 62. I get that. But those stats were put in the regular season, so they played 165 games that year. I get it that it wasn't even the Dodgers and the Giants, but in 1899 in the World Series. But are we calling it first time ever? What are we doing with this?
Yeah, I'm going to write it first ever playoff series with the caveat that 51 and 62 were the pennant at stake. I mean, it's hard to imagine bigger series at the end of the season than the National League pennant between the Giants and Dodgers. And 1889 or 1899, whenever that series between the New York Gothams and Brooklyn bridegrooms was, I'm sure that that was a riveting series at the time. But for all intents and purposes, one of my favorite records in baseball is Maury Wills playing 165 games in 1962 because it's a record that will never be broken. And so those are officially counted as regular season stats, much like Game 163, if it had happened Monday, would have been part of the regular season. So I tend to go with playoffs. But again, I'm not Keith Olbermann here. I'm not going to crucify anyone who says the other way. I mean, what he did was totally unprofessional at the bags. And I just, yeah, that really upset me. Like, I don't care at the end of the day what you call it. If it's playoffs, postseason, 51-62, we all know that those series mattered a whole lot to the folks at the time. And, yeah, I mean, let's get over ourselves and enjoy what we've got here because this is incredibly special.
Well, we got Bags on. He comes on every Friday, so we'll get him on tomorrow. Maybe we'll get Keith Olbermann on, and we'll have like a game of Celebrity Jeopardy because Bags is also smarter than him, a 3-time Jeopardy champion, by the way.
Indeed.
So let's now we know it's the Dodgers, and they're going to meet the media in a little bit. Gabe will go first at 2:00, and then Logan Webb after 2:20, Yastrzemski, and all the way through, then Buehler and Jansen and Doc for them. But the roster composition, as we look at it, how many arms in the bullpen do you think we'll see? How many bench players do you think we'll have? And do you see a scenario where Alex Dickerson is on the 26-man roster?
Right now, I think it's a little difficult to project Alex Dickerson being on there. And I think that, in looking at what the Giants could do, what they will do, I tend to think 12 or 13 pitchers, that's the biggest debate right now. And, Johnny Cueto is someone you might need on this roster just because if these games go extra innings, if any one of them does, he's the guy who can cover 4 or 5 innings in extras right now. And the Giants don't have a really true long reliever if they don't keep Cueto on the roster. So I think that's got to be weighing on them. And if it comes down to one final position player, I think I'd take Thairo Estrada over Alex Dickerson right now because of his contact skills, because of what he can do and what he has shown to be able to do against the Dodgers. Dickerson just didn't inspire a whole lot of confidence at the end of the regular season. And, the Dodgers will have Walker Buehler. They have a ton of righties in their bullpen, and Joe Kelly, Blake Trinan, and Kenley Jansen. So you could make the case to have one extra left-handed bat off the bench. But you could also look at the sample size that Dickerson has provided with us this season and just say it probably wasn't good enough to put him in the top 26.
Kerry Crowley's joining us. Obviously, we're talking Dodgers and the Giants, which gets underway on Friday. One of the key elements, obviously, the way baseball is played now is, we saw Max Scherzer go 4 1/3. As I look at the starters, maybe you'd have Walker Buehler go more than 6, but basically this thing's going to be won by the pen. And we were talking about this earlier. Right out of the gate, I was thinking, well, the Giants have an advantage in the pen, but then I start looking at the Dodgers, and like I said, they do lack left-handers. But when you look at the two pens, who do you give an advantage to?
Oh, this is really tough. And I just want to start this off by saying that no matter what happens, what decisions Gabe Kapler makes when he goes to the bullpen or leaves a starter in, everyone on social media will be saying that Bruce Bochy would have done the opposite. Regardless of whether that's true or not, we're in for a whole weekend of Boch never would have done that or Boch would have done this, when in reality, we have no clue what Bruce Bochy would have done in the year 2021 with this current roster, with this bullpen composition. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to hearing from people about. But I think that the Giants have a slight edge in their bullpen just because they have better balance. The Dodgers, mostly right-handed. Alex Vezia had a really strong second half of the season. He's their solid lefty. I will say, Jake McGee's got something to prove here because with Tony Watson out due to the moderate shoulder strain, Jake McGee is going to be the Giants' most trusted lefty, and he didn't pitch the final 2+ weeks of the regular season due to the oblique strain. The velocity was 92, 93 in his live batting practice session. So if he doesn't look good early in the series, then the edge might go to the Dodgers, or then it might be even. But Giants finishing the season 2.99 ERA, best bullpen ERA since the 2016 Indians, I believe, over a full 162-game season. The Dodgers right behind them, 3.16. You got to have a great bullpen to win in October, and both of these teams do. So I do think that this is going to be decided by relief pitching. And one final note on the bullpen, guys. Kenley Jansen ended his season 2.22 ERA and was awful against the Giants. Tyler Rogers ended his season 2.22 ERA, and had his biggest hiccup against the Dodgers. So two of the biggest relievers in this series, if they can get important outs and atone for some of their regular season mistakes, that could be the difference.
Room 222, Walt Whitman High School, a sitcom. Neither one of you remember. You're way too young. I agree with both of you say, and the bullpens will decide this. But the starting pitchers, can't get bombed in these outings, and we have compelling pitching matchups. But the choice to go with Logan Webb in Game 1 and Gausman in Game 2, and I'm fine with that. But the reasoning behind it, I'm a little concerned about Gausman leaving his last outing, the last Saturday of the year against San Diego, when he threw 7. He was pitching well. What did he throw? 84 pitches, I think it was. And the reason afterwards, they said he had hand cramping, which right away I go to the splitter. And it was a warm day, and it was hot and humid that day. But when you spread those fingers apart to grip the ball, that's where the cramping comes in. So they're giving him a full week of rest. And he has pitched effectively, with 5 days rest on the 6th day, but an extra day. Is there reason to be concerned that the hand cramping will be an issue when he takes the ball on Saturday, Kerry?
Yeah, I agree with that, Greg. And I would say that there is at least mild concern there. And what I go back to is the final week of the regular season, the Giants could have set things up for Kevin Gausman to pitch Friday against the San Diego Padres on regular rest. And that would have set him up to come back in a potential wild card game. And the Giants were still very much in play. The division was not yet sewn up. The Giants could have been in the wild card game. And instead, they went DeSclafani on Friday, prioritized that extra rest for Gausman on Saturday. And that told me that there was some concern internally about how he was bouncing back from start. So to only see him go 84 pitches at a time when the Giants probably could have gotten one more inning out of him, even though he had that extra day of rest, I do think that it all adds up to we will be watching Kevin Gausman very closely. And if there's any sign, 4th, 5th, 6th innings, 60-plus pitches where he's starting to slow down and the splitter is not nearly as effective, the Dodgers can spit on that pitch. They've got the lowest chase rate in baseball. They proved it earlier this year. Wouldn't surprise me at all if there was a little bit of a quicker hook for Kevin Gausman than we're accustomed to because of that issue you just spoke about.
Kerry Crowley's joining us talking about the Dodgers and the Giants. We're setting the first two. Is it Alex Wood in game number 3, and he'd probably take on Max Scherzer?
Not yet decided yet for the Giants, and I think that Anthony DeSclafani could be a factor here because Max Muncy's out of the lineup, and so you're looking at a situation where most of the Dodgers' best hitters are right-handed. Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger, the lefties who can hurt you, but there's just not nearly the same level of balance without Max Muncy, and DeSclafani was great in that final regular season start, so I do think that Gabe Kapler will probably announce within the next 2 days. It wouldn't surprise me if the Giants went either way.
Great stuff, Kerry. Thanks. Great piece as always, and we'll talk to you again real soon. And again, nice job at nights, man. You're sounding good.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that.
You got it.
Hey, John Lund here from my good friends at Modesto Toyota. Did you know for over 54 years, people have been driving from all over Northern California to Modesto Toyota? Why? Because of the great deals and a huge selection to choose from. Over 13 acres of new and used vehicles. And it's no secret the Modesto Toyota has a large selection of certified used Toyotas as well. The best new cars make the best certified used cars. Certified pre-owned Toyotas have a 7-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and 1-year roadside assistance. Modesto Toyota always has a tremendous selection of trucks, cars, and SUVs, all at great low prices. So, whether you're looking for a new or certified pre-owned Toyota, my good friends at Modesto Toyota, Kevin and the whole crew, they have the one to fit your needs and your budget. It's absolutely worth the drive to Modesto Toyota. Go to ModestoToyota.com. Check them out online, ModestoToyota.com.